Now that Christmas has come, I was able to watch Puss in Boots, and it is indeed a work of peak fiction. It is literally peak fiction. Goat, raw, fire. Never had I ever had this much fun watching a movie in a long time. In a year where there were only a few decent movies showing in theaters and, a bunch of mediocre Marvel movies, Puss in Boots stood out to be the best animated movie of the year. I went into this movie only watching the first two trailers, but nothing could have prepared me for what I was about to experience. To refresh myself with Puss in Boots, I rewatched the first original movie, and honestly, it was kinda mid. It is quite literally one of the Dreamworks movies of all time, and it doesn't really do anything special or anything obscene to stand out. I mean, it manages to be different from the Shrek franchise, but it's not as interesting or as fun as the other movies. I mean, I laughed a bit and enjoyed the relationship between Puss and Kitty and his backstory of as how he got the boots in the first place, but I didn't really feel much for it. But unlike this movie, it actually feels like a love letter to animation rather than just a cash grab. It manages to build upon the first movie's flaws and do something entirely new, not just for the Shrek franchise, but just for animation in general. Of course, this isn't the first movie, nor was Spider-Verse the first movie to embrace the animation on twos, but it is welcome to see that the first Shrek movie in a while is willing to embrace the style and use it to its advantage to produce something stellar. I am not an expert on animation, but I do know what good animation is when I see it. You don't really need to watch the first movie to have fun. There's a few references to the first movie, but it's never pivotal to the story, as the story is set after the Shrek movies. It's also not necessary to watch the Shrek movies, but you must be living under a rock if you still haven't seen them. With the return of Puss in Boots, the story focuses on Puss returning to his former glory as a legend after escaping death. The movie dives into themes of desperation, depression, anxiety, fear, abandonment, PTSD, and mortality. Oh my god, that's a lot. I expected the movie to be mature at certain times, to briefly talk about these themes and stay family friendly, but they decided to submerge into it and marinate in it to tell a mature story with bits of dark humor and suspense. I did not expect mortality to be taken as seriously as it did in this film, but my god, was the movie not afraid to be dark. This film is able to produce one of the best Dreamworks villains to date through the Big Bad Wolf. This dude made me feel terrified when watching the film. I hope the kids watching the movie become traumatized by this guy. This guy exudes so much Black Air Force One energy and is straight up a menace throughout the film. Bro is deadass a Soulsborne boss. He's able to change the tone of a scene with his presence. I honestly won't be mad to see TikTok edits of this guy. This dude is so fucking gold. Bro wants the heat.
Everyone thinks they'll be the one to defeat me, but no one's escaped me yet.
Alright, let's get it over with. Fear me if you dare.
As each minute passed when I was watching the film, I was invested in eating that shit up like Rick Ross.
I'ma eat it.
That fight choreography throughout the entire movie is insane. Watching these fight scenes felt like watching an anime battle unfold, and with the animation style, oh my god, it's perfect. Especially with the Big Bad Wolf and Puss. The first 10 minutes perfectly reels you in and captures what the film has in store for its action sequences and sets a perfect tone for what is about to come in the film. Despite the movie being dark, it retains a lot of that old-fashioned humor from the Shrek movies. I think the dark themes in the film made the movie feel so soulful and impactful, as the underlying message is meant to hit home. Throughout the film, the characters are able to persevere through hope and love. As corny as it sounds, the film didn't really sell it that way. The movies actually got me tearing up a bit at times because almost every character in the movie had some complexity or went through some character arc, except for one little character who's meant to be that way. It's literally a fucking sociopath. And the vocal performances help sell that so well. Especially Antonio Banderas as Puss in Boots. He goes through so much character development that I'm wishing to see how he'll be in later Shrek films. I actually expected Perito, the dog, to be an annoying side character, but he's actually so sweet and is a perfect foil between Puss and Kitty. What is actually surprising is that there's no character that was legitimately annoying, and I think the pacing of the film really helped with that. The movie is able to tightly pack its themes into a short runtime and make sure that the movie keeps going. Every scene feels necessary to the next, which solves the issue which I had with the first film. It doesn't need to pause the film to tell a joke like how Marvel movies do, and the jokes actually feel relevant to the story.
I'ma eat it.
It somehow manages to expand upon the Shrek universe in this short runtime. The world building in this film is fucking wild, and the way the environment changes is so creative. It fits really well with the characters as well. It manages to keep that fairy tale magic from the Shrek universe, and it has a unique charm for Puss in Boots. Puss in Boots 2 is the best animated movie this year, and no other movie comes close. It literally gave me everything I wanted and more. I think it's definitely worth a rewatch. Even though the movie has some minor flaws, they are easy to look past. I genuinely think the movie is perfect. That shit is a 10 out of 10 for me. It is fucking a masterpiece. It is peak fiction. If I were to choose between watching Puss in Boots again or watching Avatar for the first time, I would choose Puss in Boots every time. Words alone cannot do this movie justice. Not even the ads can do it justice. Just go ahead and watch the movie and experience peak fiction and action. Even if you haven't seen any of the Shrek movies or the last Puss in Boots movie, I 100% guarantee you that you'll have fun watching the movie. This is a movie that has to be watched in theaters. Watching it at home or on TV with that stupid ass motion blur effect or smoothing effect will not do. This movie is living Martin Scorsese's dream for cinema. Peak cinema, peak fiction. If you support Martin Scorsese's dream, help support this film and give it your money to let Dreamworks know that we love what they're doing right now. This movie cannot fail. Do you understand? Anyways, I hope to make these peak fiction videos as an ongoing series for this channel. If you're willing to stick around, you can always sub, as that helps me out greatly. Seriously though, if you don't watch this movie, I will go into your house and take your money to buy Puss in Boots tickets instead.